I'm doing a little bit of wiring on the pontoon boat today. The pontoon boat cranks and runs great. The lights and the horn doesn't work, and I am guessing because the engine was updated to a new engine that at the point where they took the old engine off, they probably cut the hot wire to the dash, which goes to all the electrical stuff, like light switches and horn buttons and all that kind of thing. Because you see, when the new Yamaha motor came along, they put a Yamaha control panel right here. Now this runs everything it has to do with the motor, but there is additional wiring. See, the wiring right there goes back there to the Yamaha motor. So what I need to do is find where the hot wire is under here that got disconnected, and there's a lot of wiring under there. There's all kind of switches and fuses and all this fun stuff. To find a hot wire, you need a ground wire, and to get to a ground wire, see, electricity moves from the positive or red terminal to the negative or the black terminal, and when it moves is what makes the light up. So what I've done, since I know I'm going to need a negative or ground wire, I have connected this green wire here to the black or minus or negative terminal down here. Now don't pay no attention to this little red on this clamp, because that's just red on that clamp. But with that wire there attached to the negative, when I touch this to the other side, you see that lighting up? Well, that's the current flowing through. The current, the positive current is flowing right here through this light, up this wire, all the way down to here, where this wire is grounded to that wire. That gives me a ground that I can take with me. So if I didn't have that, when I get up under here, I'd be searching for two things. I'd be searching for a positive wire and a negative wire, which could get very confusing. As it is, I've already got my negative wire here connected. So now as I reach up in here, and I'm gonna light up a flashlight so you can see. See, here's a whole terminal switch and all those lights, all those things up in those gauges, all these wires. If I, having a negative here, if I were to touch a hot wire, this would light up. So what that allows me to do is it allows me to start searching for the hot wire. So I can, it's hard to do this and hold a camera. And so it may be that that's the only portion of this that will actually do you any good. But I can tell you what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take this sensor and I'm going to get up in here and I'm going to start looking for a hot wire. Because if I can find a hot wire and reconnect it to wherever it was connected at before, I can probably get it working. Now it's going to have you all facing up in the air there, and we'll see what we can find. So I think I may start up here with these gauges up top, because I noticed when we crank this engine, we've got things working up here. Now it may be that I wouldn't have a wire. I wish I had my glasses on. I should have brought them. It may be that there may not be a hot wire up here until I turn the switch on. But then again, it doesn't hurt, since I'm already up under here, just to start looking and seeing what I can find. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go and see these red wires here. When going to the radio, there's a high possibility those could be connected to something hot. Here's it looks like a cigarette lighter plug. Let's see, I might need to go get my glasses. It makes it a lot easier to see. Yeah, probably will. Okay, I'm gonna go get my glasses. Oh, I know. I just happened to think. I know where my glasses are, and they're actually within reach. They are in this ashtray up here. Look at that. That's good. I don't have a whole lot of room to get my arms up in here either. If I put these glasses on, I'm going to be able to see a little something. Alright. This looks like a speedometer cable. I think this boat has a tachometer though, and not a speedometer. But that's kind of beside the point. It looks, whatever it is, looks like a mechanical one, which wouldn't have wires going to and from it. So I'm gonna go up here where this gauge is. I know some of these gauges were working. I'll just do a little searching. I'll just do a little touching around. See if I hit anything. Lights up. And like I said, I may have to put a switch on to get anything, which I can certainly do if need be. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna step outside there and put the key on this Yamaha switch. Now another thing I could do is just pull a wire straight from the battery and run it back here, but let's look around a little bit more first. That would be like admitting defeat if I did that, and I'd rather find the right wire. Oh, I don't have the key with me. Well, that's gonna take some of the fun out of it, isn't it? But I do have some good places where I'm liable to find the hot wire out here. And I may wind up taking this seat off too. That allows me to get over in here a little better. I think if I loosen this up, I can lift that seat. There. That seat out of here. Then I can see these wires right here. Now you see these wires right here? This red one that connects to, looks like nothing right there. I'm willing to bet that might be a hot wire. So let's try. It looks like there's a little cap right there. Ah, look at there. We got lucky. You see that? So that right there is a hot wire. So I can get a wire, a connector to go up in that, and I can get a hot wire and I can bring it inside the dash. But I don't want to, now that I know there's a hot wire here, I know that that is an option if I want to use it. I may or may not want to use it, because if I just took that in there, and then I might have to run a whole new switch for, horn, lights, and all that stuff. Whereas if I can find the old switch for horn and lights and all that stuff and use it, and I'm guessing this is going to be it right here. You see this? Now here's an old ignition switch. So this is accessories and all kind of little switches. In fact, I could pull this whole thing out. I bet that's the horn. So what would happen if I pulled this whole thing out? Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? That certainly is easier than laying on your back, reaching up in the dash and trying to find stuff, ain't it? Okay. So, if these switches work, they might get me to some place where I want to go. Oh, it's like an old gold mine of wires there. that hot wire right there. Now, generally the red is going to be the hot wire. So, okay, here we are on the ignition switch. And here, up on the bottom here, is the red wire, which would normally, I would expect, would be a hot wire. So when I touch this to that, it is not a hot wire. However, I bet I could find where that leads to and bring it to a hot wire. Now, I don't know if I actually want to, because what's going to happen is this switch, if that's hot, I've got a key switch here, and if it was turned on, it would probably activate all of this. But I don't have a key for that, for one thing. But I do have that wire, so if I'm able to follow that wire, and you know, I could take and use these switches not necessarily the way they might have been meant to be used, and I can short across this thing. If I had fire here, I can straight wire the ignition switch and possibly get the use out of some of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn y'all off, because doing all of that requires two hands and some slow, careful thinking. But I did want to show you this trick. The whole purpose of this was just to show you that you can use a wire like that to a ground wire to go and search, just like I did to find that hot wire right there. So I'm going to turn y'all off and get up under the dash, little flashlight, follow some wires around and see where it leads us.